Yeah, I need to make a table for Rosewood, and my desk is beyond chaotic at the moment. But I'm gonna, I'm just gonna work around the chaos and try and whittle some little legs for this table. I'm using just the wood I have. I don't actually have a lot of wood left anymore. Well, I've never really had a lot. It's all been gifted. Some of it's been gifted to me. These bits were gifted to me and were in the wonderful box I got from my friend Caroline a while back. And yeah, so I just want to try and shape these legs a little bit. So I'm scraping some wood off them. And then I'm going to try and just round them up a bit, just to make them look, I don't know, sort of table leg like. I don't know. We'll see what they look like. Just all a big experiment here. Trying to do stuff that doesn't hurt me too much. So they're not looking too bad, and they will go on the in here. I mean, they're pretty wonky, but we'll work on that as we get closer to them. Yeah, see what we can do. I've actually got carving tools, but they're up in my shed. They're from when I used to carve the Hitty dolls. I've still got a Hitty doll to finish carving actually, but I haven't done that for ages either. Maybe I'll do that on my channel at some stage, and you can see how I go about doing that. And after the lovely sunny day we had yesterday, today it is just basically, it's been grey and damp all day, sort of a drizzle. So we don't seem to get more than about 1 or 2 days of sunshine in a row, or well, not blue skies anyway. But it was lovely yesterday. Today's actually Saturday, although you won't be seeing this on Saturday. I'm guessing you might be seeing it on Monday for miniatures on Monday, if I get it finished. Just want to try and get them so they all look very similar. That one's quite a bit bigger and a bit wonky. So that side. This is just a nail file that I'm using. It's currently using a special, what do they call it, like a wedge cushion. So it's in the shape of a triangle, I suppose, so that it just tilts you up slightly when you sit, so your hips are raised rather than backwards. So I'm hoping that's gonna help and make things a little bit easier for me. It's really frustrating because I've got so much gardening to do and I literally cannot do any. So the weeds are just getting taller and taller and taller. But there's not much I can do about that at the moment. They'll always be there. The garden's very strange this year. There's lots of things growing that you don't want to grow, and the stuff that you want to grow is not growing. Like, I've got very few tomatoes, and those I've got are just not ripening up, which is a good indication of how rubbish the summer has been so far. And yes, I know we've had some relatively hot days, but you expect that because it is, after all, supposed to be summer. And it's just been awful, to be honest. So I might do the rest of this on time lapse just to speed it up a bit, because you don't need to see me sitting here sanding all these. You get the general idea of what I'm doing. So we'll put it on time lapse and continue. So I've glued the legs on with wood glue, and I will leave it to dry. Just make sure I get them level with each other. I shouldn't fiddle actually, I should just leave well enough alone. It was probably actually in the right place, but it just looks slightly wonky. So yeah, I'll leave it to dry. I've decanted wood glue into this container, and that's what I used. So I'm going to leave them to dry, and hopefully when I turn it up the other way it will be stable. Right, so I've got the legs on. So now I've got to, well, I just want to make sure they're okay for the table. We've got little chairs, and she sits down there quite nicely. So yeah, I'm going to paint the table next. And I'm going to paint it white so it matches the chairs. Mostly I paint things. My brain's not thinking. I normally paint things wood. Slightly wonky at the moment. I have to see whether it's just that or whether it's the matte. I've decided I want to make the table double thickness, so I'm actually going to cut out another bit, and that's going to go on top, slightly wider than the other one. Just over 3. And that is under 2.5. Right, hopefully this will work. Should be just under 2.5. You hear the dogs playing in the background. So yeah, I just like to I think it would be a bit stronger if it's double thickness, and it'll look more like a table rather than just a thin table. So hopefully this will work. Blade's gone in. Right, so that will go on top like so. So I just need to sand it and make sure it's square. Even though I've measured it, I'm not quite convinced it's square actually. Nope, it's not square. Great. Is any corner square? I guess you could say that corner's square, almost. That one's not really square either. Oh, I didn't do that very well, did I? Right, let's see. Let us see if I can get this to be square. We do with a better square than I've got. Right, let's try that. See if I can get it more square. Yep, and that's going to be better. I think that is going to be better, apart from that side. That one's all right. Probably by the time I finish trying to get it all square, it'll be the same size as the table. Right, I think that's going to have to do. I'm going to sand it and then I'll glue them together. Okie dokie, so here is the finished table. I'm reasonably pleased with it. One of the legs is crooked and I can't decide whether to try and straighten it up. It's fixed quite firmly now. Oh, actually I might be able to straighten it up. I think I have managed to make it loose. So I'm going to straighten that leg and then get it back on there. Okay, so I fixed the legs. I'm happier with them now. They are much more straight, as you can see, and it's nice and level. So that is the table. Now I need to make a little stove. Not quite sure how to go about that, but first I think I need to clear my desk so I've actually got room to work and plan. But before we do that, we'll try the table out for size. It looks like it might work. Kind of feels like it might be a little bit tall, but we'll see if it is a little bit later on in the video. Right, I want to make a little stove. I've done some measurements. The height is going to be 1.7 inches, the width a maximum 3 and the depth maximum 1.5. So what I might do is I might do the top first with these two measurements, and then I can adjust the other pieces as appropriate. So there's the illusion that my desk is nice and clear, but it's well, it's not really, but you know, it's just an illusion that part of it is clear, because I'm just too impatient and I just want to get on with making this stove. So see how we get on. Depth maximum 1.5. Hang on. That's better. Right. And then I'm going to want some kind of grill kind of thing here. Possibly about that many. Let's see if we can cut them properly. So let's do it from there. How big do I want them? Yeah, about that. So I'm doing these as 2/8 of an inch and then 1/8, 2/8, 1/8, 2/8 and 1/8. And I'm going to be cutting. That's not right. It should be right. It just didn't look quite right somehow. That's definitely on an angle. Oh, that's why. I could really do with a decent rubber. I don't actually have one. I thought I did with my art stuff, but I don't. Try that again. Right, that should be better. Okay, right. Let's cut this out. And my knife should be in my pencil. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I'll probably put this on time lapse. Now I start cutting these ready to cut out, but then I decided I'd done it wrong, so I had to actually redraw it all up and do another piece, which you can see there's a second piece here that I'm cutting out now. It could have been neater, but it works. I'm not entirely happy with it, but using the materials and tools I have, yeah, it worked out quite well. And yes, I'm just measuring up some different bits that I'm going to add to it. Okay, well, I'm still not convinced by this, but I do have a fallback option if this doesn't work. So now I'm going to work on the front. I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to also cut a bit out, and I'm going to have like little bars across it. Well, we'll see. Who knows whether this is going to work or not. So I'm measuring out the front. I want to put a grate in the front, so I cut out a gap, and then I'm using some little toothpicks to make the grate bars. I tape them in place to start with to see how it's going to look and decide that's okay. And then I want to put like a drawer front to pull out like the ash pan, and also a drawer for the actual oven part. Nothing opens, it's just a very basic stove I'm making here because, as I say, it's all very ad hoc. I decided I need extra little runners or bars in the grill part on the top, so I put those in as well. And then I'm putting on some little elements, which was foil and little rings I had, and then a back piece. So you'll see it all in a minute. Okay, so here's my little stove. I had one of these and I put it in there, but I'm only going to put it in one, I think. I haven't quite decided yet. At the moment I'm only going to put it in one. And yeah, so now I'm going to paint it black all over. So we will do that. Clear some space and we'll get painting. Okay, so here is the finished stove. I have got a some lights and a battery that I want to put in there, little kind of battery pack, but I don't know where the safe place is that I've put it. I haven't had them for probably since near Christmas time, so I'm hoping I didn't pack more of the Christmas stuff. But anyway, I put a little hanging rail on the side, and it's got a couple of elements. So yeah, I'm relatively pleased with it, considering I made it completely out of my own kind of imagination. So yeah, anyway, we will go and put it in the house. So yeah, here it is in the house, and it will look better with the light, so you can actually see the light hopefully eventually. But of course, forgot was now the table looks way too big because the table's as high as the stove. Oh dear, like it doesn't fit in the house. So might have to have a bit of a reshuffle around. I've managed to get the stove to fit, well, sort of, for the space we've got, and I think it works. So we just got to see if we can get the table in now. So there we have the table. I've actually cut it down a bit so it's not as taller than the stove. I cut 2/16 of an inch off the bottom of the 2/16, is that right, or 2/8? Anyway, I cut a little bit off the bottom of the legs and it works. It's a little bit cramped, but you know, these tiny kitchens do have a lot of stuff moved into them to make them work. So yeah, so they are my makes for miniature making on Monday. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video of my kind of I don't know whether you'd call it quite creative endeavours, but yeah, and hopefully once I've got the light, I found the little light for the stove, I can show you that when it's on. So I'm quite excited about fitting that little light in there. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you again another time. Bye for now.